Before we dive into this AI tool comparison that will provide clear insights, make sure to subscribe to the channel, as we upload new tool comparison videos every day.
All right, so you want to dive into this whole design tool thing, huh?
We've got a lot of material here, so.
Yeah, we're talking Canva versus Photoshop. Two big names.
Two very powerful tools.
Right, but which one is going to be right for you? You know?
That's the question.
That's what we're here to find out.
Exactly.
I think some of the stuff we found might actually surprise you.
Yeah.
Like, did you know that Photoshop gives you the power to control every single little pixel in an image?
It's true. It's incredibly powerful.
But that comes at a cost. It's way harder to learn than Canva.
Oh, yeah. Photoshop has a much steeper learning curve, for sure.
For sure.
What I find really interesting is how both tools are, changing the game, especially now with AI becoming such a big part of everything.
AI is everywhere.
It really is.
Yeah.
We're not just talking about making images look pretty anymore. AI is helping us design and even strategize,
That's a whole other level.
It is.
Okay, so let's start with Canva. So imagine you need some really eye-catching visuals for your small business or for your social media,
Right.
But you're not a design pro.
Not a professional.
That's exactly where Canva comes in. That's their sweet spot.
Canva's all about making design accessible.
They've got this super user-friendly drag-and-drop system and like a zillion templates, it feels like.
It's an incredible library of templates.
And the best part is it integrates with tools you're probably already using, like Google Drive.
Absolutely. It makes it so seamless.
Totally. And get this, they have over 100 million users.
That's a lot of people designing.
100 million. That's wild. It really shows you they've hit on something that people need.
For sure. Canva's definitely found a need, and they're filling it.
Okay, now here's where things get even more interesting. Canva has really embraced AI.
Oh, yeah.
They've got AI features for everything. It can generate images, create text effects, even suggest design elements based on your content.
They're trying to make design almost effortless.
Almost like magic. It's incredible.
It really is. But even with all of these features, you won't find the same level of customization that you get with Photoshop.
Right, so it's like if Canva is like having a friendly design assistant.
I like that analogy.
Then Photoshop is more like having this professional-grade studio at your fingertips.
Exactly. It's the tool that professional designers and photographers use when they need that precise control over every detail.
It's like a digital darkroom where you can just tweak every single aspect of an image.
Precisely. Photoshop gives you that level of control, especially with features like layers and masks.
Layers and masks, what are those?
So imagine you want to swap out the background of a product. Photo layer. Layers let you isolate that product from the background.
Okay.
And masks help you seamlessly blend in the new background so it looks totally natural.
Oh, wow. I hadn't thought of it like that.
It's really powerful stuff.
That's really cool. And just like Canva, Photoshop has also jumped on the AI train.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
They're both pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
They've added features for things like advanced data visualization and even more powerful editing capabilities.
Yeah, Photoshop is really leaning into AI.
But all that power comes with a price. It's not the easiest thing to learn, right?
Definitely. Photoshop has a steeper learning curve. You're not going to master it overnight.
It takes time.
It takes dedication and practice. But once you have those skills, you can really do just about anything.
So it's like a long-term investment.
I think of it as an investment in your creative potential.
I like that. Okay, so now that we have a basic understanding of each tool,
Right, the basics.
let's dive into a head-to-head comparison of their features.
Let's break it down.
All right, so first up, image quality Canva is going to be totally fine for most everyday stuff,
For sure.
like social media post presentations, even marketing materials.
You're not going to need anything more than that for those kinds of projects.
But when you're working on something that needs crazy high resolution and detail, like something you'd print in a magazine, then Photoshop is the way to go.
Absolutely. When you need that professional level quality, Photoshop delivers.
So it depends on what you need those images for, ultimately.
Yeah, it always comes back to the purpose.
All right, next up, ease of use. This one is pretty clear-cut.
I think we all know where this is going.
Canva is designed to be picked up quickly and easily.
Anyone can start creating with Canva.
Photoshop, on the other hand,
Not so much.
not so much.
It takes time to master all of those powerful tools.
And that brings us to customization. With Canva, you've got those templates we talked about.
Templates are a great starting point,
They're fantastic for getting things done quickly and keeping your branding consistent.
and they can save you so much time.
But if you need to break free from the templates and you want complete control over every element, then Photoshop is your best friend.
Photoshop is all about creative freedom.
It's your blank canvas where you can do whatever you want.
It's your digital playground.
I love that. Next, let's talk about how well these tools work with other tools integrations.
Because no tool is an island.
Exactly. Both Canva and Photoshop play well with others. Canva is really great for sharing your designs on social media or collaborating with others.
It's very collaborative.
Like if your whole team needs to work on a design together, Canva makes it super easy to do that.
Yeah, whereas Photoshop fits in perfectly with the Adobe ecosystem.
Like all the other Adobe stuff.
Right, so if you're already using Adobe Illustrator for vector graphics or InDesign for page layout, Photoshop is going to integrate seamlessly with those.
That makes sense. To get a better sense of what people are actually thinking about these tools, we spent some time digging through Reddit.
Oh, Reddit always has some interesting opinions.
It's a goldmine for real user perspective.
For sure. And we found that Canva is actually winning over even some diehard Photoshop fans.
Really?
Yeah, it seems like there's a real shift happening in the design world.
That's interesting. Like even experienced designers are starting to see the benefits of Canva's user-friendliness and collaborative features.
It's a change to the game.
One designer even said, and I quote, 3 years ago, Photoshop was the essential skill to learn, but now Canva is easier and free, making it a good choice for beginners.
That really speaks to the growing trend of making powerful design tools more accessible to everyone.
I think that's a good thing.
Definitely. It democratizes design.
All right, ready for a little surprise?
Hit me with it.
Let's talk about SEO.
Okay.
So that's basically how easily your designs can be found online through search engines like Google.
Right, getting your stuff seen.
Exactly. Now, you might think that Photoshop, with all of its fancy features, would be the king of SEO.
It would make sense.
But here's the twist. Canva might actually have an edge, especially for people who are new to SEO.
Really?
Yeah. Canva makes it so easy to create designs that look good and are also search engine friendly. They have templates that are built with SEO in mind, and they make it super simple to do things like add alt text to your images, which is super important for SEO.
Alt text is key.
But don't count Photoshop out just yet.
Out of the gang.
If you need to create highly customized, visually stunning graphics that are also designed to rank well in search results,
Right.
Photoshop gives you the creative freedom to do that.
So more for advanced SEO needs.
Exactly. It's like Canva takes care of the SEO basics.
Or the foundation.
And then Photoshop lets you take it to the next level.
It's for the SEO power users.
Okay, so we've talked about features, but let's be real, budget is a big factor when choosing a tool.
It's a huge factor for a lot of people.
Let's break down the pricing. Canva has a free plan that's pretty generous. You get access to basic features, and it's a great way to try it out.
It's a great way to get your feet wet.
Then they have Pro and Enterprise plans, which give you more features, more storage, and better team collaboration tools.
So you can scale up as you need to.
Exactly. Photoshop has traditionally been known for being a bit pricey,
Yeah.
but they've actually introduced some more flexible options lately.
They're adapting.
They offer a photography bundle with Photoshop and Lightroom, which is a really good deal for photographers.
Especially if you need both tools.
And they also have monthly and yearly subscription plans, so you can choose what works best for you.
It gives you more flexibility.
And the best part is both Canva and Photoshop offer free trials.
Always a good idea to try before you buy.
You can test drive them before committing to a paid plan.
It's the best way to see if the tool's a good fit for you and your workflow.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here, the target audience for each tool, the key features, even the pricing.
Yeah, we've really gone deep.
So what are your initial thoughts? Anything jumping out at you so far?
I'm really struck by how both tools are kind of blurring the lines between simplicity and power. You know, they're both becoming more accessible and more capable at the same time.
It's really impressive.
And I think that opens up a world of creative possibilities for everyone.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how technology is evolving to empower more people to express themselves visually.
It's a good time to be a creative person.
But I have to say, all this choice can also make it tough to decide.
Oh, for sure. Choosing the right tool is more important than ever.
It can be overwhelming.
You really have to think about your goals, your budget, and your learning style.
And that's exactly what we're here to help you do.
That's our mission.
So stay tuned for part 2, where we'll go even deeper into the nuances of these tools, share some real user experiences, and help you decide which one deserves a spot in your design toolbox.
We'll get you set up.
All right, see you in part 2.
Sounds good.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Let's keep going with Canva versus Photoshop and zoom in on what real users are saying about these tools.
Yeah, it's always good to get that real-world perspective, right?
Absolutely. So we dug into those Reddit forums you sent,
Oh, Reddit.
and there's some fascinating stuff in there.
Okay.
A lot of it focuses on how these tools can impact a team's workflow and collaboration.
That makes sense. Design is rarely a solo endeavor these days.
So true. One designer mentioned that Canva has become essential for their team's workflow because it's so easy to share designs, get feedback, and even work on projects together in real time.
Oh yeah, that real-time collaboration is a game changer, especially with so many teams working remotely these days.
Right. It really streamlines the process.
For sure. On the other hand, we also saw some comments about how Photoshop's power can actually be a double-edged sword.
Okay, how can all that power be a problem?
Well, think about it. Seasoned designers, they love the control and flexibility that Photoshop offers.
Right. They can do pretty much anything with it.
Exactly. It lets them achieve these really nuanced effects and push their creativity to the limit.
Right.
But that same level of detail can be super overwhelming for someone who's brand new to Photoshop.
That makes sense. It's like having a professional chef's knife. Amazing for a trained chef,
Right.
but maybe a little intimidating for someone who's just starting to learn how to cook.
Exactly. One user even joked that they spent more time watching Photoshop tutorials than actually designing anything. Which brings us back to Canva's strength, its simplicity. You can jump right in and start creating without getting bogged down in a ton of menus and options.
So it sounds like Canva is a great starting point for beginners.
Absolutely. Or for anyone who just wants a more streamlined design process.
But if you're willing to invest the time to learn a really powerful program like Photoshop,
Then you'll ultimately have more creative freedom in the long run.
it's a trade-off.
It is. You have to decide what's more important to you, ease of use or ultimate creative control.
So true. Now, while Canva and Photoshop are definitely the most popular kids on the block,
The big names.
there are actually other tools out there that might be a better fit for certain needs.
There are a lot of hidden gems out there.
We won't go into too much detail, but it's worth mentioning a few alternatives.
Just to give you a taste.
Exactly. So what are some of those hidden gems?
Well, if you're interested in vector design, which is perfect for logos and illustrations that need to be scalable.
Scalable meaning you can resize them without losing quality.
Exactly. Affinity Designer is a really strong contender. It's often seen as a more affordable alternative to Adobe Illustrator.
Okay, and what about web design?
For web design or creating user interfaces, Figma is super popular. It's all about collaborative design and prototyping. So you can build and test interactive designs before you even write a single line of code.
That sounds pretty powerful.
It is. Then there's Inkscape, which is a free and open source option for vector graphics.
Free is always good.
It's incredibly powerful, but it does have a bit of a learning curve.
Steeper than Canva.
A little steeper, yeah.
Yeah.
And for those on a tight budget who need something more robust than Canva for photo editing, GIMP is worth checking out. It's been around forever, and it's a solid free alternative.
GIMP. I remember that one.
It's a classic. And we can't forget about Pictochart.
Oh, yes, Pictochart.
It's fantastic for creating infographics and presentations.
And if you want to create those really eye-catching animations or social media graphics, Vista Create is another fun option.
So many choices, right?
It's a design buffet out there.
But even with all of these alternatives, Canva and Photoshop are still the top contenders. They've been around for a while, they have massive user bases, and they're constantly evolving.
And that evolution is so important.
It's crucial.
We talked about AI earlier, but both Canva and Photoshop are always adding new features and finding ways to make design more accessible and more powerful.
They're pushing each other to be better.
It's exciting to see where they go next. Let's circle back to those real user reviews for a second. We talked about how even experienced designers are making the switch to Canva. What are some of the specific reasons they're making that leap?
Well, convenience and speed seem to be big factors. Canva's templates and intuitive interface make it super efficient to create professional-looking designs, even for complex projects.
And those collaborative features we talked about are a huge plus for teams.
For sure. One user even mentioned that Canva actually helped bridge the gap between their marketing team and their design team.
Oh, that's interesting. How so?
Well, the marketing team could easily create visuals for social media or marketing campaigns without having to rely on the designers for every little thing.
So it empowers people to take ownership of their own design needs.
Exactly. And it frees up the designers to focus on those more complex and creative tasks.
That's a win-win.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Part two.
it's clear that both Canva and Photoshop are incredibly powerful tools, each with its own unique strengths and weaknesses.
And ultimately, the key is to figure out which one aligns best with your individual needs, workflows, and goals.
Exactly. You have to find the right tool for the job.
And in part 3, we're going to tackle some common misconceptions about these tools and guide you through some key questions to help you make that final decision.
So stay tuned. We'll help you make the right choice.
All right, welcome back. We've really explored Canva and Photoshop, haven't we?
I think we've covered just about everything.
From top to bottom now, in this final part, let's clear up some misconceptions and really help you choose the right tool for you.
It's decision time.
It is. Okay, so before we get to the big decision, let's tackle some of the common myths we hear about Canva and Photoshop.
Myth-busting time.
I love a good myth-busting session, so hit me with it. What's the first myth?
All right, so one that we hear all the time is that Canva is only for beginners and Photoshop is only for pros.
Yeah, that's a pretty common one.
So what do you think about that?
I think it's way too simplistic. I mean, sure, Canva is incredibly user-friendly, which is fantastic for beginners.
Right. It's designed to be easy to pick up.
Exactly. But I've seen professional designers and marketing teams using Canva to create some really impressive stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Canva has become a very versatile tool these days. It can handle a lot more than some people give it credit for.
You can design social media posts, presentations, even some print materials, all within Canva.
It's really expanded its capabilities.
And while Photoshop is definitely the industry standard for professional photo editing and graphic design,
Right. The gold standard.
there's no reason why a beginner couldn't learn it.
It's definitely possible.
It just might take a bit more time and patience.
Yeah, there's a bit of a learning curve there.
For sure. So it's more about finding the right tool for your skill level and your goals, not about putting these tools into these rigid categories.
Exactly. Don't limit yourself based on these myths.
All right, what's another common misconception?
Okay, this one is a big one, that Canva is just for quick and simple designs, and Photoshop is only for complex, detailed work.
I don't know about that one either.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, I've seen some pretty sophisticated designs created in Canva.
Yeah, it can handle more than people think.
It's definitely more capable than it gets credit for.
It really has evolved over the years. Canva's added features like layers and masks, even some basic animation tools.
Wow, so they're really stepping up their game.
Yeah, they are. Of course, it's not going to replace Photoshop for professional photo retouching or super intricate illustrations.
Right.
But for everyday design tasks, it can hold its own.
And on the other hand, you can absolutely use Photoshop to create simple designs.
You can if you want to.
It's just a matter of, using the right tool for the job.
Sometimes you might want to use a sledgehammer to crack a nut.
Right, but if you have it, why not?
Okay, one more myth to bust. This one is about pricing. That Canva is free and Photoshop is expensive.
Ah, yes, the pricing debate.
So this one is a little bit tricky.
It's not so black and white.
Right. So Canva does have that fantastic free plan, which is amazing for anyone starting out or on a tight budget.
Yeah, it's a great way to test the waters.
But to unlock all of Canva's features, you'll need to upgrade to their Pro plan, which does have a monthly fee.
Right, so it's not totally free forever.
And Photoshop, while has traditionally been known for being a bit pricey, has actually become more accessible with its subscription plans.
Yeah, they've got options for different budgets now.
Exactly. They have a photography bundle with Photoshop and Lightroom, which is a really good deal for photographers.
That's a great option.
And they also have monthly and yearly subscription plans, so you can choose what works best for your cash flow.
So both tools have pricing options that cater to different needs.
It's really about finding what fits your budget.
All right, I think we've officially busted those myths.
Mythbusters we are.
But if you're still on the fence about which tool is right for you, let's try to simplify it.
Okay, good idea.
Ask yourself these 3 questions.
3 key questions.
Question number 1, what's your design experience?
Okay, that's a good place to start.
If you're a total beginner, Canva is a really great starting point.
It's very beginner-friendly.
It's intuitive, it's easy to learn, and you'll be creating beautiful designs in no time.
You'll be up and running quickly.
But if you've got some design experience already,
Right, if you're not starting from scratch,
or you're ready to invest the time to learn a more complex program, then Photoshop might be a better fit.
Photoshop is more for the power users.
Exactly. It gives you that extra creative freedom and control over every single detail.
It's for those who really want to fine-tune everything.
All right, question number 2. Think about the kinds of design projects you need to create.
What are you actually going to be doing?
Are you focused on social media, graphics, presentations, logos, photo editing?
Lots of options.
Figure out what you'll be using the tool for most often.
Where will you spend most of your time?
Right, because if you're all about those visually appealing graphics for social media, marketing materials, presentations, then Canva has got you covered.
Canva is great for those everyday design needs.
Their templates are a lifesaver for creating consistent branding and really eye-catching content.
Templates can save you so much time and effort.
But if you need to do some serious photo editing,
Right, like professional level retouching,
create complex illustrations, or design for print,
like brochures or magazines,
then Photoshop is the tool for you.
it's built for those kinds of projects.
It has all the tools you need for those professional level projects.
It's the industry standard for a reason.
All right, and the third and final question to consider is your budget.
Budget's always a factor.
It is, so both Canva and Photoshop offer free trials.
Take advantage of those.
You really should. It's the best way to see if a tool's a good fit for you before you commit to anything.
It's like a test drive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Canva's free plan is pretty generous.
You can do a lot with the free plan.
And even their pro plan is relatively affordable.
It's priced pretty competitively.
Photoshop, on the other hand, will require a subscription.
Right? No free option forever.
But they have different options to fit different needs and budgets.
They have some flexibility there.
So it's all about finding that balance between your creative goals and what makes sense financially.
You got to make it work.
All right, so we've gone deep on the features, the pricing, even real user experiences.
We've left no stone unturned.
So what are your final thoughts on this Canva versus Photoshop showdown?
Well, it's been really interesting to see how these tools are empowering people to express themselves visually.
It's pretty amazing.
They each have their strengths. And honestly, you don't necessarily have to choose just one.
You could use both.
I know plenty of designers who use both Canva and Photoshop depending on the project they're working on.
It's like having different tools in your toolbox.
Exactly. You grab the right tool for the job.
So true. And that brings me to a final thought-provoking question for our listeners out there.
All right. I love a good thought-provoking question.
Imagine the amazing things you could create if you mastered both Canva and Photoshop.
Ooh, that's a good one.
What doors would that open for you?
The possibilities are endless.
I think so too. So keep exploring, keep experimenting, and most importantly, keep creating. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Canva and Photoshop. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into the topics you care about most.
Until then, happy designing, everyone.